I'm Marshall Masters, publisher of yowusa-dot-com and co-author and publisher of Planet X Forecast and 2012 Survival Guide. This is a response video to the YouTube director by the name of Nibiru 2012. On February 20th, 2008, Nibiru 2012 posted SPT, that's South Pole Telescope, images of Planet X. And of course, we immediately wanted to vet this, and we tried to contact him through the YouTube messaging system, and we were mysteriously blocked. And that was kind of unfortunate, because all things being equal, we would have loved to have a conference call with him and his associates about this video that they've put up. So given that we could not contact them through textual means or talk to them over the phone, about the only thing that left was channeling. No, we don't want to go there. So we did the next best thing. We published a 5-page analysis on our site at yowusa.com, that's yowusa.com, detailing what we were finding in this video. And we published our findings on March the 2nd. And to our delight, Nibiru 2012 actually responded to some of the issues that we had raised with an update to his video, which he posted on YouTube on the 3rd of March, the following day. And this raises a whole nother series of issues. So instead of doing another article, we decided to take a different path. Now remember, we can't get him through the messaging system, we're in the dark there. We can't conference call, we're in the dark there. And channeling, while it may appeal to some, is a definite non-starter. But then we had an idea. Use YouTube as a forum. That's right. Let's take this vetting process and put it right out in the public so everybody can see it. And with that, the first question we have is, hey, Nibiru 2012, what do you guys mean by shallow? That could be any number of references, so we need some specificity. To whom or to what? The next thing we're curious about is your visibility sequence, where you start off showing here is what we can see currently, which means that supposedly this is visible to people perhaps on the south end of the Falkland Islands. Then we have the beginning of 2009, the beginning of 2010, and of course the period of 2011 to 2012. That's when everyone looks up into the sky, points in the same direction, and collectively we poop our pants. But in the same video, you tell us that these objects are just inside the Kuiper Belt. Well, Nibiru 2012, that's a pretty big piece of real estate. And yes, objects that are in highly inclined orbits to the ecliptic will speed up as they come in, but in order for these objects to be visible to everyone on the face of the Earth in the period of 2011 to 2012, as you show in your graphics, you're going to need a warp speed tow truck to get you there. And the reason why we're making that statement is back in December 2006, we first published our forecast. And we put this up as a PDF on the site, and we've had tens of thousands of downloads. So this information is widely available out there. There are 9 different slides in this series, and it takes people through the process of where the object is going to be and how it's going to be visible here on Earth. And what we found was that there was an incredible similarity between what you're showing in your 4-slide sequence and what we published back in December 2006. So in terms of distance, you're going to have to do a whole lot better than it's just inside the Kuiper Belt. You also went to great length to show that there are actually 7 objects in orbit around this brown dwarf. We compared that with the images from the first video that you put up, and we found that 2 of the objects, the ones we had labeled A and C, were reversed. So the question we have here is, did you mirror this image in order to make your point that there are 7 objects? Another thing that we found of interest was that we could see a subtle color variation. Now we understand that these are false color images, which is common with these types of telescopes. However, when we did a further enhancement, this was really noticeable. And here's the enhancement we made, and let's start with the objects beginning in the upper left-hand corner, down to the lower left-hand corner, then down to the lower right-hand corner, and then up to the upper right-hand corner. These are the 4 smallest objects surrounding the dwarf and the 3 primary satellites in the center. And we can see these shaded color variances. This could be a false color interpretation showing any number of factors. But what it made it interesting to us were the 3 primary satellites closest to the brown dwarf or dark star. And so our question to you, since you have access to this information, is how many of these are lifeless moons and how many of these are some form of planet, planetoid, dwarf planet, so forth, with an atmosphere. And finally, Nibiru Shock, we want to end on one note. In our analysis at yowusa-dot-com, yowusa-dot-com, Janice Manning was harsh, but necessarily so in terms of her analysis of the text, because it really did illustrate that this is just not some intellectual derelict somewhere just trying to be clever, that you're really the tail end Charlie of a chain of informants. And technically, you're out of your depth, but on the other hand, you're a human being too, and this is really coming home to roost for you. So the next time you write your about text on YouTube, speak from the heart, just like you did the second time around. That's how we'll be listening to you, from the heart. This is Marshall for yowusa.com. I look forward to your response.